Hello, viewers. We often talked about democracy. We all know the definitions of democracy that, as said by the Abraham Lincoln, of the people, by the people, for the people. And democracy is a type of government, is a system of government in which people elect the leaders. But I was just reading the class ninth uh, political science book, and I was fascinated by the writings of his his writers of NCERT. In the features of democracy, they point out a very great points, you can say, because I was very impressed by the NCRT's effort in this. That, like, we often think that in democracy is people elect leaders and they choose that, and they make decisions for the common good of the people, but that is not the case. It is not as simple as you think. Like, uh, example, let me give you from the same example that was given in this book of political science of class ninth book. It was it had talked about a time in Pakistan in 1919 when General Pervez Musharraf did a military coup and proclaimed himself as the president of Pakistan. And you can say a complete military rule at that time in the Pakistan. But it wasn't that military is taking all decisions. General Pervez Musharraf issued a, you can say, a executive order which allows that those members, those elected members from people, from the common people, elected representatives will make any bill and pass it from the parliament, but the final assent by the General Pervez Musharraf, by the president, if President Musharraf gave the assent, then only that particular bill or act will be in effect. Otherwise, it won't be at all. So the NCERT or the author tries to understand, tell us that this is not the democracy. Here, the people elected, here the representatives that were elected by people, like the MLAs or MPs. If you take example in as of in Pakistan, there is something another word for those MLAs and MP. But if you take in concern of that, uh, the rules or laws were made by elected representatives, or you can the word made was not appropriate, we can say the rules was proposed by elected representatives, but the final assent to become it a law, the assent of president which was unelected, which is, you can say, dictatorial, then the final assent was made, of course, by the President General Musharraf. So first features of democracy, they say, is that the in a democracy the final decision making power must rest with those elected by the people. Must rest. Like in our country, the final assent was given, of course, by the president, but the president is indirectly chosen by the people. People chooses MLAs and MPs, and MLAs and MPs further chooses the president. So it is indirectly that we choose who gives the final assent to the bill, and it is who will, after signing that, it becomes an act or law or something else. So it was, I think, find it great, quite interesting about that. Now coming to the next is that uh, the writers give an example of a country. Um, in the second feature, they give the example of China. In China, there is only one party, CCP, Chinese Communist Party, and elections held in after every 5 months. But the leaders were all from the same party. And also, they gave the another example of Mexico. There is only one party there in Mexico. There are other party which was completely not in good shape, and they were funded less by the government. They were funded less by the people. So in Mexico, like, there was only one party who is ruling since a long time ago. The leaders might change, but the party remains same, and that party has spent a good chunk of money in spending all over the country during election, as you can say, a way of propaganda to ensure them that they will remain in power. So the second features of democracy is that in democracy it must be or you can say the election must be on a free and fair, where those currently in power have a fair chance of losing. Holding election of any kind is not sufficient. Like what happened in China, what happened in Mexico, what happened in other countries of the world, like in North Korea. When in North Korea, Kim Jong Un got the 99.99% of votes. So having any kind of elections doesn't mean gives you a certificate that your country is a democratic country. Uh, Now coming to the next point is that which says that in a democracy each adult citizen must have one vote and each vote must have one value. This is coming to the story of you can say Iraq in Saddam Hussein time, when he was the only one person and who has one vote and one value, and there was no any something like universal adult franchise we call it, for right to vote for everyone who is above the age of 18 years old, who is above the age of 18. So this was the third features of democracy, and the last was that a democracy government rules within limits set by constitutional law and citizen rights. A government cannot uh, act as an aggressor or dictator in its own country. Or leader or ruler chosen by the common people will also have limited power, and he or she has to respect the citizenships, like right to freedom and right to organize protests without arms and all the rest of it. So that was, I think, a features of democracy that is really, uh, you can say, a praisable work, a laudable work. Thank you very much.